Hey, it's Bob Sears again, and I want to talk about fear this morning, right? Because I feel like a lot of people don't do what they really want to do based on the wrong assessments. Remember, we talked, I think, in one of the first few videos about how we feel when we make a decision, and the reason we make decisions the way we make decisions is because we've had life events that have happened to us. And our mind, although great at protecting us and helping us survive, it's not always great at helping us thrive. So that adjustment of understanding that makes you think about it a little bit, and you really get to focus your mind when you're trying to create success. One of the other challenges is we focus on that fear, right? You know, it's amazing when I have consultations with business owners, and they always ask this question when we're talking about marketing strategies or sales strategies or just ideas to move their business forward. They go, well, what if it doesn't work? And I'm always like, what if it does? Like, why would you focus on the fact that this isn't going to work? And that stems from a fear factor. And, you know, training salespeople, there's something called call reluctance. And a lot of people don't want to make cold calls or talk to people because they're scared of what they're going to say. And it becomes a challenge because, you know, if you want to make things happen, you're going to have to actually deal with people because people still do buy. Even in this electronic age, it's actually the person who makes the decision to buy, not the computer. And this call reluctance and this fear factor happens. So I want to help break this paradigm a little bit and see if we can use a strategy that I teach people how to sort of. I learned from one of my early mentors, and it really works. Whenever you're scared to do something, specifically call out or make a pitch, or by the way, when we do something new, we're going to be scared to do it anyways. I mean, it's like anything else. It's like you guys get upset at me for driving, but I'm literally watching the road 99% of the time. And I'm like, because I'm doing that, I, I've driven for, going on 35 years, I guess now. So it's not challenging for me to do that, right? But when I first started, I always say, when you learn how to drive a manual the first time, it's like you're freaking out. You hit that hill and you're like, oh my goodness, I got to think this through. It's clutch down, first gear. I got to release at the same time, and you hope the guy you don't stall it and roll back to the guy behind you, right? Fast forward 3 months later, that nervousness and fear is given way to you're eating a burrito, you're having a Coke, right? You're changing the channel, and you're shifting with your knee and or driving with your knee and doing. I mean, it becomes second nature, right? So here's what I want you to do to sort of break the fear factor. And people will do more for others than they will for them. It's amazing. It's an amazing concept. And if you ask people why they want to succeed, a lot of times they're going to talk about their family, their loved ones, and it's just human nature. So use that leverage to help you propel you forward. So the next time you're concerned about making a call or doing something that you fear, say to the, and especially when you know it's going to move yourself forward, take a picture of your family and loved ones and say, them saying no to me or me talking to them is more important. Their thought process of how they think about you, feel about you is more important than your family. Because I mean, if you think about it, that's basically what you're saying. You're taking the opinions of somebody else and you're bringing them into your life as if they have meaning when they don't. So understand that. I mean, the reality is if you talk, the worst they're going to say is no. And if they say no, it's probably a good thing because you don't want to work with them anyways, right? It's learning to be skillful in that approach of just talking to someone and being okay. I'll give you a clue. I start out with a no because then there's only one way to go is up, right? So I'll say this is probably not for you. This may not work. This may not be a good thing for you in your business. I might not be a perfect fit. I'm not really sure if this is going to work for you. So let's talk about it. Like I start with the no, so we have the opportunity to move forward. And if they move forward, now it makes sense, and they're like, hey, this makes sense, right? But if it doesn't, you're like, well, see, I kind of knew that. Remember when we started the conversation? I said that this might not be for you. Well, hey, by the way, I can ask for a referral on a no, because then I just simply say, look, based on that, based on the fact that this is not a good fit for you, but now you know how I work, you know that I'm, just trying to find out if it's a good fit for you or not. Who do you know that I might talk to that we would be a good fit for, or I would be a good fit for? Now, people laugh when I do this and tell them that why, because they go, well, the person said no. Why would they give you a referral? And my answer is, does it take any more time, effort, and energy? You're there making contact with the person at that moment in time. What is the big deal to just ask them simply, hey, now that you know how I am, I told you this may not be a fit for you when we first started. It's not. I can appreciate that. Not a problem. Hey, who do you know that I might be a fit for? It takes me half a second to ask that question. And here's the irony. There is a lot of times that they don't know, they can't think of one. You can give them some, memory joggers. But if they say, I don't know, or it just doesn't happen. But then the one person they give you could be one of the best clients you ever had, and it came from getting a no. So it's all about optimizing. It's all about being strategic. It's all about facing your fear, but doing it in a strategic way. Don't be scared of the things. I mean, if people understood that they are so talented and they didn't listen to the people surrounding them, they didn't care what the people around them said, thought, believed, because then it's not your life. You're living your life for everybody else except for yourself. Is that what you want to do? I mean, really? Because if you making those decisions and you're making them based on the thoughts, feelings, desires of another person, it's very challenging to get to where you want to go. And here's what happens if you start really thinking about the fear and understanding that it's that moment in time, the dog biting your hand or whatever happened that your mind is searching through. Remember what I said, a lot of times it's not even factual information it's dealing with. If you got bit by that dog when you're 3 and then have had 1,000 dogs lick you in the face, I mean, and you're still thinking about the dog that bit you, I mean, that's just not analyzing that fact that dogs tend to be okay, right? Now, are there bad dogs? Absolutely. Do dogs bite? Yes, they do. Do they do it every single time? Probably not. And that's the challenge. Our mind is built that way. So we have to overcome it. We have to create strategies that break those patterns, right? And that's all it is, breaking the patterns. One of the things Tony Robbins talked about when you use NLP is scratching the record. So sometimes you're going to make decisions, or sometimes you're going to have these, we call them bad circumstances that happen to you, and then it creates a system of you just triggering things to do the same thing over and over again. So the dog situation is almost like every time you see a dog, instead of seeing the dog and thinking, okay, dogs bite, you start to see a dog with ponytails on it, like a little girl's ponytails, and make it really teeny tiny and with a squeaky voice going, "Meow, meow, meow, meow." And so it breaks the pattern. It's called a pattern interrupt. And when you do that, all of a sudden you're not looking at the dog the same way. You're scratching the record of how we recall those things that we think are real. And we're changing them to things that are more empowering. So you want to keep the idea, and you want to think about, why am I fearful? Ask the question, why am I fearful to do this at this moment in time? What about making that call am I really scared about? What is it? Like, break it down, think about it, take it out, look at it, and then really decide, is this something I really should be fearful of or not? And when you do that, you're going to become a little more logical, and you're going to think really about what are the challenges that I'm really facing. And when you start breaking those patterns, one of the cool things that T. Harv Eker says is, how we do anything is how we do everything, right? So you start breaking these patterns, you just start breaking them, and all of a sudden you find yourself asking those questions more. You start spending more time, in the moment that you're dealing with these things, and all of a sudden you have this capacity to really think out and direct your life. Because remember, I talked about, I blame you, like I blame myself. I take responsibility for the things that work or don't work because they're on me. And, a quick story of that is I was a VP of sales for a company. They brought me in and I completely changed everything. But I was very transparent with all the salespeople there and all the executives. I was transparent all the time, but I changed almost everything they were doing. And within a very short time, we doubled our sales. It took about 3 months. And everybody was like jacked. And then I became the president of the company because of that within less than 5 months. And when I when I went about everything, not only was I transparent, but here's one of the keys in my leadership strategy. When things were wrong, I took responsibility. I said, that's on me. That's my fault. I didn't teach you guys. I didn't train you guys. I didn't direct you guys the right way. It's my fault, my responsibility. And then when we did something really good, I didn't take responsibility for that. I said, you guys did this. You all implemented the strategies we talked about, and you all got us here. It was a different approach because most times in leadership, everybody's taking credit for when they didn't do it, and they're giving blame when it was their fault. I just flipped that model. And that goes back to the business owners taking responsibility, thinking about how can this work? How will this work? Why will this work? Not if this doesn't work, what happens? You can't stay focused on the negative. You got to stay focused on the positive. That's where you want to go. So listen, as I always say, you're one decision away from making the dream life you want. Go do that. Take some action today and have fun. I'll talk to you soon.